All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about Jordan Peterson's visit to Zurich, coming up in a moment. My name is Nick Redmark. I'm a professional coach and I'm very interested in psychology and people who are prominent right now who talk about psychology that I'm interested in are Sam Harris, and Jordan Peterson is also one of those. And he has been touring around the world, and yesterday he came to Zurich to give a talk. And I don't think I should introduce him to you because he has been kind of famous and infamous all this the last couple of years. But anyway, so I went to see him during this talk, and ironically, this was actually just a block away from the Women's March here in Zurich. But anyway, we went to the talk, and we saw Jordan Peterson there. It was quite the feeling to see him. It's interesting because I rarely go to concerts or these kind of things where I see someone famous. And so I rarely have this emotion of seeing someone who kind of in front of me, who is prominent, who is kind of influential in culture and so on. It's quite a feeling. I can imagine how, I don't know, nowadays we, as a society, we are more suspicious of those feelings. I can imagine though how 100 years ago they could have kind of swayed, like very charismatic people could have swayed entire nations, and I don't think that we are completely free from that still. But anyway, so Jordan Peterson, as you know, he picks his topic every time, so he kind of improvises his talks differently. Obviously, has rehearsed a big number of his stories, so it's never completely new, but it's also never completely repetitive. And this time he decided to talk about a question that an interviewer asked him, and it's not the first time he gets asked this question. So as you see, his book is called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. And the problem emerges when you read the book, and then at a certain point you see his explanation that in ancient myths and so on, order is characterized symbolically as masculine and chaos as feminine. And obviously this is not politically correct, and so he kind of he said like his goal was to kind of find a tighter explanation of why this is the case. And so basically that's what he did during his talk. He tried to kind of unpack the whole subject of why is order masculine, why is chaos feminine, and why should one even care about that. And so I found it interesting. Obviously I won't be able to summarize his talk here, and I don't want to do it. I want to kind of pick up on some of the things he said and give my kind of own summary or my own way of looking at this topic. And I think really like the first kind of separation that one should do is between masculine and feminine and men and women, right? So it is obvious that the masculine and the feminine are symbols that we use kind of to categorize the world, and it can kind of become a tyrannical categorization if we apply it to individuals, because we are way more complex than these principles, and these principles manifest themselves in very complex and intricate ways. So like this distinction, we are in a phase in our civilization where we kind of have to really like distinguish the two things. But let's look at like what is masculine, what is the feminine, and I think the core image, really the most powerful image, is a image of a pregnant woman. And like to really understand what femininity and masculinity are about, I think that if we really have to reduce the concept to its like the most primitive, it's a concept. It's about the thing that contains and the thing that is contained. So the feminine is kind of this shape, this cavity that contains something, and the masculine in the thing is the thing that is contained. And there are a number of things that kind of follow from that. So for example, one thing that follows is that the container is inward facing, and that the thing that is contained is outward facing. That's an example. So if I had to give an image to the masculine and the feminine, it would be this, right? So the masculine is the small thing that's kind of enveloped by the large feminine thing. And this kind of can be applied to all sorts of images. And I'm talking about kind of how we experience these situations. So for example, an island in the sea, in the deep sea. So the island is this masculine element within the deep feminine sea. Another image could be the citadel, this medieval kind of place where there is kind of a bit of civilization, and outside of it is nature or like danger. And here we already kind of get to why order and chaos are feminine. Order is masculine and chaos is feminine. It's precisely because of this structure of chaos being basically what is outside, and order being what is inside, what emerges out of chaos. So the reason that order is represented or experienced at this kind of symbolical level as masculine is simply because it is the thing that is contained, and chaos is the thing that contains it. And I think this is basically already kind of this, from my point of view, the simplest way to explain the way this mapping happens, this symbolical mapping happens. And that's it. So this is kind of my way the way I would have summarized or answered the question, obviously based on also some of the things he said during his talk, but his talk obviously was much more in depth and way more detailed. So if you find this interesting, let me know. If you want, I might talk about the question that I would have liked to ask him, because obviously many people asked him questions, and I didn't get mine answered. And I do have a question that I've been trying to kind of formulate over time. So if you are interested in that, let me know, and I might make a video about that. Thank you very much. See you next time.